Hey, Vengeance Books, how's it going? If you're not keeping up on the main channel, which by the way is Lincoln, down in the description below, you may notice the background. I'm in a shed, and that's just it's a whole thing. But don't worry about that. I fixed my nose ring. I wanted to make a real quick update video for you guys, let you know kind of what's going on. This next Thursday, I think it's the 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd, I have the first book that's not a part of the Vengeance series being released. Now, I say book, it's a single short story. It's a challenge I did to myself to try to see if I could write a short story in like under a month's time. Now, how long did this actually take me to do? The project file was created on December 17th, but I don't know if that's like the day I started writing. I think I just kind of made it and wrote the concept down. And I finished writing it yesterday on the 14th. So, yeah, roughly like a month's time span. It's about a 60-page document, and it's nothing too crazy. In fact, there's like no character dialogue. It's more of like an observational an observational piece where we're kind of observing scenery and very isolated events through um, a very limited character. And I think it's kind of cool. It's not meant to be like the most deep thing in the world, but there's definitely some stuff that you can pull from it. There's some stuff you can relate to. It's a bit different, but it's nothing. It's not too wacky, you know. I'm gonna oversell it if I keep saying stuff, but like I think it's worth the read considering it's only 60 pages, and it's a pretty quick 60 pages. Because if you know me, I write my books in like size 10.5 font with very narrow margins, so it makes the pages kind of dense. But as for this one, it's actually written. I think it's in like 12-point font. Let me pull it up. I believe it's in 12-point font and yeah, 12 font, Times New Roman, and it's actually only about 13,000 words, which is not that much. But like I said, there's no dialogue, so the pages get filled by just paragraphs of descriptions and observations that kind of don't get too full of itself. It doesn't go too crazy. I'm overselling. I'm over explaining it, but I definitely think you guys should go check it out. That will be releasing, like I said, on Thursday for $10 for paperback, and Kindle, it's still 99 cents. The $10 I feel is a little high, but then again, my poetry book, my collaborative poetry book, which is like what I think it was like 25 pages or something like that, 30 pages maybe, is also I think $10. Um, so the profit margin is not very big, so I kind of have to keep it at $10 so I at least get a smidgen of money back for a purchase. But either way, I think you guys should check that out for sure. It's called, and I had such a hard time deciding what I would name it, but I settled on Incarnation, and that will become apparent. And you may see that the cover is a very washy and not too defined and kind of like lacking real refined detail, and that's intentional. It's something that I did with just my mouse instead, because I have like a drawing tablet and I draw a lot of stuff, but I just did it in my drawing program with my mouse and some etchy brushes. Sorry, this is like the first words I've spoken all day, and I'm getting like throat bubbles and stuff. But yeah, you'll see the cover and you might go, wow, this kind of looks like shit, but like it intentionally is supposed to look very messy and kind of chaotic because of the perspective that we're seeing through the book. That it's reflective of that. I can't even say of the characters. It is a character, I guess, but not really. So yeah, incarnation. But I can't hear the word incarnation without thinking tarnation. It's like, what in tarnation? What incarnation? And that always plays in my head, so I can't take it seriously. But like, I had a bunch of other names, but they all seemed too pretentious. So I used some of those pretentious names as they're not really chapters. They're kind of just like breakup points, page breaks, but with a title for that. So anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the next books coming out for the Vengeance series. Ignore that. My phone's going off because somebody's at my door dropping off mail. Now here's where some controversy might come into play. I do think at this point I'm going to be writing 2 more books. Now, hold on. I know I said that a bunch of times already that I was just gonna write one more book. The garden wasn't supposed to exist. That was supposed to be a, like I've said before, like a 140-page introduction story, kind of like just bridging the gap between the stories. And it was supposed to be completely different. And then the next book was going to have, it was going to be jam packed, and I mean like book one jam packed. But the more I think about it, it's kind of like the next book, which would be the final book in the series if it were all one, but then technically I guess it would be the last two books, would essentially have two introductions. And those introductions would be very abstract and long winded, and kind of ephemeral. Think about like how with a lot of the mental and spiritual delves that Chrism would go through in Devil to the Damned, a lot of kind of stuff like that, where it's just very spiritually observant, and uh, I really don't know how to describe it. I can't really describe it right now, but yeah. So essentially, it's going to be two books. As of right now, I don't think I'm going to combine them, because if I did combine them, it would be this long, a 50 to 100 page introduction just to set up for a second introduction. And that second introduction would be very similar to the first one that we just got, where it's like delving into some stuff, and not really sticking with the primary plot points. Like we're not going directly from, we are going story wise from the end of book two to directly now, we're picking up right after, but there's a lot of like internal machinations, like a microcosm of spiritual and deific divine essence that are kind of figuring each other out. So it's like imagine if all of a sudden you were imbued with the knowledge of God, or if you were imbued with the energy of an angel or something like that, you'd have a lot of searching within to figure out what the fuck's going on, right? So like think about it like that. So it's kind of that kind of essence, where like the first one, the first book, that currently is called Omnibus, however you pronounce it, Omnibus, sorry, uh, is essentially a reallocation of memories. And this one I find is to be pretty interesting. And it's not really heavy spoilers. I'm not telling you exactly who the characters are or what it's leading into. But the basic concept is we're following a character that we've only seen one time as they're going through all of the books and collecting canonical information, connecting a fraying internal timeline and an internal perception of reality, and collecting it and repairing it, and then presenting it to the character that we're going to be following in book three. So, yeah, we're going to be going through and seeing a lot of like observing some scenes and realizing, wait, this dialogue's not correct. This is not what this character said. The divergent has shifted. I need to correct this. And then, so this story, Omnibus, essentially makes every single iteration of the book's canon. It makes the very first published version of Vengeance canon, in a way, because they all exist in this delve, though have to be corrected, if that makes sense. So you think about all the previous books, even if I changed one word in it, you think about all those as branched timelines. Even though they're not branched timelines, they're branched spiritual projections of what the future could have been but wasn't. And then we're going through and like taking that crack and fixing it, and we're taking that splinter of metal that got cracked and frayed and bending it back into place, and getting the timeline, getting the mental timeline, the history correct, and assimilating all that to present it as this is who you are, and this is the past, and this is what things are. So imagine having that at the beginning of the book, just to then have another spiritual delve where two characters are having a conversation about like a darkness within, and about trying to take over and fight for control, and kind of like size each other up, and whatever have you, and then the book starts. So I think because of having all that happen, I do need to have Omnibus be an actual prelude story to the next book. Um, just so it's not so jam-packed, and just so you're not reading through, I don't want you to feel like you're slogging through, because you wouldn't be slogging through, but realizing like, okay, I just got through all this like setup, and now I kind of know where we are, except the way that this ends would be like, it would be this character we met once presenting the information to a character that we're gonna be in book, and I keep saying book 3, it's technically not book 3, it would be book 4 at that point, but we would be in the next book, but we don't know who that character is, because then we have to start from that character's perspective as they're collecting stuff prior, because it's happening at the same time as this, just to then have those two things meet. It's whatever. So that's what's happening. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I'm currently still kind of waiting. I'm kind of holding my breath. I'm not going to do it today. I might not do it tomorrow, but very, very, very soon, definitely before the last week of January, I'm going to start really compiling and figuring out all of the notes. I just emailed myself all the notes I had on my phone, and I split a lot of those into the 2 books, and I have to fix some stuff at the beginning that I had laid out in the initial blueprint for the next book, which is very messy. Shut up. But yeah, so the first period of time is going to be me just readjusting and getting the blueprints set to go. So anyway, that's what's going on, and I'll update you guys occasionally as shit happens. Do I have another fucking dead pixel? I think I have 2 dead pixels on my screen. You suck. Anyways, check out the book on next Thursday on the 23rd. $10. It's called Incarnation. Just go to my author page down below, and yeah, pre-order it or something.